everyone. Welcome back to the Be More podcast, where we inspire you to be a little bit more of every role within the Salesforce ecosystem and beyond. Today's episode, very special episode, and we're actually going
Very
back
special episode.
Yeah, exactly. We're going back to where we started, which episode 1, Be More Business Analyst with Vanessa Grant, and we're actually now on episode 50. So for today's episode, we're mixing things up a little bit, switching the tables, so to speak, and Vanessa's going to be asking me some questions. So Vanessa, over to you to introduce yourself and then fire away.
Hello, everybody. In case you did not see episode 1, I recommend you go back to it. Maybe after this, though, listen to this one first because this one will probably be better. But today, we have a very special episode of Be More Tom Bassett. My name is Vanessa Grant. I am a product owner at Mosaic, which is a fintech company. But today, I'm playing the more important role of interviewing Tom Bassett. The listeners want to know more about you, sir. And just from my point of view, seeing how this show has evolved over the last year, which is wild to me, that how many episodes you've managed to bust out in a year. You are a workaholic, and we are all grateful for it. All the sunshine and inspiration you bring into the community. Tom, tell us a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself and your role.
Yeah, okay. So I guess professionally, because I have a few side hustles and that takes over quite a lot of my life. Professionally, I'm a Salesforce solution architect based in London in the UK, working for a Salesforce partner that helps non-profits implement processes and systems to kind of measure their impact. And then alongside that, I hope you're all sitting comfortably because this is a little bit of a list. I run this podcast, I run a YouTube channel, expert author for Salesforce Ben, forum ambassador for Salesforce, credentials ambassador for Salesforce. I help run the London Architect Community Group. I speak at various conferences. Really exciting to be going back to Dreamforce and speaking with you again, Vanessa. Somehow they're letting us back on the stage together, not once but twice. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, and just general kind of advocate really for Salesforce in the ecosystem and spreading the word and learning a new thing along the way as well is always a bonus for me too. So yeah, I guess that's me in a nutshell.
Well, so Flow Evangelist, Be More podcast host, Credential Ambassador, London Architect Group Leader, Salesforce Forum Ambassador, Salesforce Shirt Designer.
Yeah.
For those that didn't just hear my knees crack as I tried to get above on the camera, I was showing off the Go With The Flow shirt that Tom helped design. Salesforce Ben expert author, and Vanessa Grant's Dreamforce speaking partner. Which title brings you the most joy and why?
They all appeal to me in different ways and they all teach me different things. I think I'm particularly proud of being able to write for Salesforce Ben. And in fact, it's been 3 years now that I've been writing for Salesforce Ben. So I'm proud of that. And I can also kind of reflect and see over the course of that time how I've developed along the way as well. And how I've changed, hopefully, for the better too. So yeah, I think that one.
Well, you're talking about your journey, and I don't even know that I realized that you were writing for Salesforce Ben 3 years ago. I know that you were really active on the Answer community, which is, why you are a Salesforce Forum ambassador. But can you tell me a little bit about your Salesforce journey and your evolution in the community?
I was kind of observing this wonderful Salesforce community for a while and perhaps like feeling it out a little bit to see if there was a place for me and if there was a space where I could like make an impact and help other people. And I think it was actually just before COVID. And at that point I was a Salesforce consultant. I started to kind of feel around the trailblazer community and started to kind of practice honing my craft there, like focusing on answering questions about Service Cloud if I was doing a Service Cloud project, or another one about Sales Cloud if I was doing a Sales Cloud project. And that really helped to not only build my confidence and my experience, but also seeing it from the other side, like a complete stranger posting a question and then knowing what questions to ask back, really. I think that's a whole another skill in itself. And then during COVID, that became almost an obsession, really, because there wasn't really anything else to do. And then I could suddenly see the impact I could have. So yeah, joining London's Calling Virtual and hopping around the different sponsor booths. Like I didn't realize that this thing called Salesforce was so big, and there was so many like different people invested in it from different angles and like that. And then around the same time, and it's a little bit weird or ironic, really. We both spoke at Consultancy Dreaming, which was like a virtual event as well. And at that point, we didn't even know each other. We were
Yeah.
complete strangers. And yeah, then I kind of saw the impact of speaking up and talking about things and the people that I could help as a result of that. So then, as I say, it became a little bit of an addiction, stemmed from the answers community, and then kind of spread out from there, really.
So, did you always think that you'd end up being a content creator, or was it something that just kind of happened a little bit more organically?
I think definitely happened organically. Like it was through answering questions of the community that Salesforce then reached out to me and said, "Hey, do you want to start writing for us?" So it's definitely something that just kind of grew. Um, and initially, I was kind of only writing about things that I was really comfortable or confident in, and then over time, grew in confidence in myself, talking about things that I didn't really know about. Like the first time I kind of discovered what a scratch org was for research for an article for Salesforce Ben. So I definitely learned along the way on that one, and now I use scratch orgs for packaging. So it's a great experience, and kind of I use any opportunity to learn more and better myself as well as others, if that's possible along the way too.
Well, I have to ask, as a forum ambassador, certainly you've seen and answered a lot of questions in the Trailblazer community. What's one of the more unusual or creative Salesforce problems that you've encountered, and how did you solve it?
Somebody wanted to process incoming emails, um, so that they would be handled in Salesforce as records and be matched to the accounts and contacts that existed in the system. And it was very solution heavy. They wanted Apex that was going to do this. And they wanted it to work this way and it couldn't work that way type thing. And actually, at the end of it all, like after hearing them out and kind of challenge them a little bit on the requirements, I just kind of subtly pointed out like the system does that natively. You don't need to write Apex to do that. You're thinking about a problem or a challenge from a solution point of view. You're not actually like, what problem are you trying to resolve? What business process are you trying to make better? And actually, I think it's going to sound corny now, but I remember when you and me both started talking to each other quite like regularly and quite often, you kind of opened my eyes about user stories and things like that. And I was definitely, it was almost full circle because I was going back to this person and I was saying, where's the user story? Where's the requirement? Who are you doing this for? And there's been a few of those recently, actually, where the posts are very solution heavy. Like, I want this solution and this
Hmm.
solution isn't working for whatever reason. So it's nice to almost have a full circle moment, and also any opportunity to strip it back, keep it simple, do something that Salesforce does natively, how it does it natively, it's definitely something that I would lean on as well.
Excellent. I love to hear it, and good plug for business analysis there
Yeah.
too.
It's important, you know.
Yes, yes, very important.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, it's great, and I think it's interesting to hear how um, the way that you've approached some of these problems has changed over time, and learning how to ask those right questions. So kudos to you.
Mm.
I will ask, since you are a phlonatic, if you could automate something in your personal life, what would it be?
Well, I feel like that's a bit of a trick question because the majority of this podcast is automated by Flow already.
Is it really? Tell me
Yeah,
more. I'm
all
excited.
of the bookings come in via Einstein Activity Capture, and the Flow matches them to the right session. Um, and then I get automated reminders when the appointment is coming up, when I need to promote it on social for audio, when I need to promote it for video, when I need to promote it on the Trailblazer community, and also a little bit that I just kind of tacked onto the end um, is a survey that goes out to speakers afterwards as well to get their feedback and to understand how in the future I could do it in an even better way. So I think that's actually one great achievement of this podcast. Like, it used to be very manual. I used to have to negotiate with people with like time zones and bookings and all of those things and working hours and client meetings and everything. And now I just like, in fact, I don't even send it anymore. It's automated. Somebody comes into me, I approve the submission, my Calendly link goes out to them already set for the correct month based on how far advance I'm booking for. Because right now I'm booking like 3 or 4 weeks in advance. So we're recording this in July. My calendar invites or calendar booking page is going out for August or September. Um, and then when it comes back in, it just automatically matches it to the record. And if it doesn't match to the record, I've built a little alert for me to go in and fix it manually. Because there are some gremlins in the system, like Vanessa Grant, she's in the system twice for some reason at the moment,
Oh
and
no,
the system's not designed for that. And I'm like, whoops, I didn't think
who
about
wants
that
to be
user
more Vanessa
story.
Grant?
Yeah. And in fact, we've got another speaker that's coming back on in a couple of weeks' time. And again, my phone didn't handle that very well, so I'm like, okay, I need to think about this because this has now happened twice. So it's no longer an edge case ready. So yeah, I think that's a great example of something I have automated.
As we went through all of your various titles and accolades within the ecosystem, certainly you do a lot. Is there anything you say no to?
Yes, but it is difficult, and it is a skill I'm learning. And in fact, spoiler alert, but we've got an episode, a couple of weeks off now, where we're going to be exploring Be More No. Yeah, there are definitely some things. Sometimes various people will ask for something and they'll want it immediately, not realizing that maybe I'm working or I'm on site or I'm on holiday or whatever it may be. So there's a little bit of that going on, but there's also naturally just a little bit of prioritization. Like, I need some time for myself and some time to switch off and zone out. And maybe right now it's a little bit easier because I've just had COVID, and so I'm still kind of trying to be kinder to myself, right? And I have blocks in my calendar right now that people can't book this week or next week because I need to really focus on myself and recover. But there are some things that I say no to, and I think how I decide if I'm going to say no or not is, does this does this bring me joy? Can this bring others joy? And will others benefit from it? And will it potentially reach different people as well? Is perhaps my criteria. A couple of months ago, I was in a place where I wasn't saying no to anything. I was saying yes to everything. And as a result, got a little bit overwhelmed. And I created a list and prioritized what I'm doing and basically said, okay, for me, speaking at conferences, at events is quite important. Writing for Salesforce Ben is quite important. The podcast is quite important. So as a result, the answers on the community is still on my list. I still do it when I can, but is towards the bottom of the list rather than the top of the list. And that's how I tend to play it now. So yeah, it's about prioritizing and reaching different people and helping more people.
Well, given all the things that you do in the community, I am a little bit surprised to hear that you have a personal life. Um, but why don't you
Somewhere.
tell me a little why don't
Okay.
you tell me a little bit what inspires you in your personal life?
My personal life right now is basically an opportunity to switch off, and it's to kind of step away from Salesforce, Slack, MuleSoft, whatever it is, and to just literally shut down. Because for me, my work life and my kind of extracurricular life are very similar, and it's always about Salesforce or related to Salesforce somehow. So I do have like a recurring block in my calendar now on Fridays when a friend comes over and we just have takeaway and watch rubbish TV. And then nobody can book time with me at the weekends unless I say so type thing. So that's how I kind of keep the balance between the two. But ultimately, it's just about catching up with friends, having a laugh, and switching it off. I think is the most important part of it.
Nice. So this is the Be More show, and this is the Be More Tom show. What does it mean to be more Tom?
I think what I do and why I do it is to help people. So if I'm helping people, then great. I'm being myself. I'm doing what I set out to achieve. But there's a little bit of perhaps selfishness in it as well because I want to learn at the same time. Like everything within the world, Salesforce is moving so quickly. So I kind of like to explore that more through this show and through other outlets and content pieces that I do to try to basically form that neutral way of thinking about something or that kind of middle ground. I think it's about hearing others' opinions, but also using it as an opportunity to improve my own understanding about it as well, and potentially help others by sharing experiences too. I think it's kind of all of those things really blended into one. And yeah, just having an impact and inspiring as well. Yeah,
Okay, so to be more Tom, we need to be helpful.
yeah,
We need to be curious,
yes.
and we need to continually learn. Am I missing
Mm.
anything that sound about? And also finding a way to balance it all, preferably with Salesforce automation.
Yes, exactly. If you can automate it, then even better. Yeah.
And what skills and attributes does it take to be more Tom Bassett?
I think trying to have an impact and also inspire, kind of leaning on those thoughts a little bit more. But it feels really great when somebody messages me, particularly like if I don't know this person, to say, thanks for writing about Einstein Activity Capture. Now I know
Hmm.
how to build reports and dashboards with it, and I couldn't before. Or thanks for releasing an episode about being a BA. I'm now going to pursue that journey. And somebody else came up to me at Dreamforce last year and said, like, I'm going to be an architect because of you. And I was like, me? Like, little old me? Like, how am I having this impact of somebody completely on the other side of the world, right? So I think that is a big part of it as well, and that's what fuels the motivation to carry on.
Nice. Well, if you could redo your community journey again, is there anything that you would do differently?
Yes and no. No, I wouldn't change anything because I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I wouldn't have learned what I've learned. I wouldn't perhaps be as diplomatic in situations because I had to learn that diplomacy a little bit. But also, yes, like there are some things that I should have known better. That makes sense. Like I should have known more to not do it. Like for example, recently, and I was quite vocal about this, right? Because I'm definitely one for like admitting when I done something wrong or overlooked something. Right? I built a flow in Salesforce that runs off of when a user is last modified. And there's a scheduled path that runs 1 minute after the user is last modified. And I was building this flow and I was like, okay, fine, it's good. Salesforce is stopping me from using when the user was created or last modified as a trigger for the scheduled path that runs 1 minute afterwards. So the system's got some form of protection in it. But what I didn't realize is the system is not stopping me from using last modified on its own, which I then kind of got into a false sense of security about. And I was like, oh, the system is telling me that's fine, so I'm going to target that instead because I didn't have another date time field to use. And as a result, built an infinite loop. The flow ran, updated the user, that triggered the scheduled path. The scheduled path also updated the user, which then triggered the immediate path. Then the immediate path updated the user, which then scheduled the triggered path. And it's just a great loop, right? And yeah, exactly. Oopsie. Oops. Yeah, exactly. I went with the flow and literally got stuck in a loop. And then I posted on LinkedIn about it. And actually, there was a lot of people that kind of came in and said, because I was kind of advocating, Salesforce should protect users from doing this. And then there was this whole debate about whether I should have done it in flow or in code or whatever. And in code, that would be called a race condition. And honestly, at that point in time, I didn't really even know what a race condition is. I've learned it now because of that conversation on LinkedIn, right? So I'm better because of it. But at the same time, I'm kicking myself because I should never have built that flow in the first place. And it was just as well, I caught the fact that it was in a loop because that flow would just have continued to run because there was the data volumes that are going through it were so little that it never would have hit the limits of Salesforce. I worked out, I did the math. It would have run 70,000 a day or something, and I think the limit's 250,000. So it would have just kept on doing it, and no one would have known. But luckily, I'm a stickler for testing things thoroughly, and I was on the pages set up where you can see the scheduled path being run, and I kind of thought to myself, but wait, it's been scheduled again. Why has it been scheduled again? And then I kind of clicked. I fixed this problem by tightening up my entry criteria on my flow in the first place, and also no longer targeting the last modified date. So there was kind of a double-edged meaning or benefit to this. I perhaps lost sight of having a flow with a tight entry criteria because I thought, all of these protections in the system, Salesforce is protecting me from creating an infinite loop. No, it's not. There's still a way to create an infinite loop. In the past, I've done it deliberately. On this occasion, it wasn't deliberate because I was trying to fix something. I was rushing and panicking as a result. So, yeah, perhaps some context there, but still learning.
No, that actually brings up a question because I know you've discussed before about how much you've learned from really, I mean, not to make this make you feel bad or anything, but from
Yeah,
your failures.
yeah.
Do you think you've actually learned more from the mistakes that you've made or more from the like proactively going after education?
More from the mistakes because I don't give myself an easy time when I make a mistake. And it's difficult because we all make mistakes. We're not machines. We're not all been replaced by AI just yet. Even
Just
AI
yet.
makes mistakes. AI hallucinates. So yeah, it's I think the mistakes make me better because I kind of almost scorch myself a little bit, and I do it less than I used to. I used to be really bad at it and beat myself up for days about something. But now I'm like, okay, shrug it off.
Awesome. And just because I know that you are also a fan of bringing to light maybe Salesforce features that folks don't know a whole lot about that you particularly like, are there any that you would like to bring up?
I was curious about the Skim API and didn't really understand what it could do, how it would do it, and how easy it would be to use. So was actually planning on writing an article about it and did a series of YouTube videos to just explore it and figure out how to create users and update users. I then realized how, in my opinion, limited it is, and then explored other options. So then what I was going to write about wasn't, the skimming API was mentioned, it was a very small part of it. But I was thinking, well, in reality, I wouldn't use that myself, so I've got to explore the other options like Okta or Azure or whatever the client has to create and provision the users. So I think that's one, and it's a good example because I didn't really know about it. And the other one is perhaps a little bit of a spicy opinion. Einstein Activity Capture gets a lot of bad rap.
Yeah, I mean, I had my issues with Einstein Activity Capture for a
Yeah,
while as well. Like, I've been burned really badly by, you know, check boxes that nobody noticed, and all of a sudden the CEO's calendar is visible to everybody. Kind of,
yeah,
maybe that's something that happened in a previous organization that I was in. Maybe I'm not saying for sure,
yeah.
but like I've had some challenges with Einstein Activity Capture.
I'm an advocate for spreading the word about the fact that you can report on it now, and there's at least 3 ways to report on it that I know of. So there's definitely options out there. Yes, it has limitations, but also in the context of things, it's a sales cloud product. So if you're expecting it to do it against your custom object, it's not gonna. So I think that helps kind of put it into context. I've been stung by it as well. I just remembered actually a bit of flow that when an event came in, it wiped the description out. And then I linked my Google Calendar to a Salesforce fork, and every event lost its description. And I was like, whoops. And then it synced back to Google.
I love how like after every mistake, you're like, "Oops."
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Like I failed something. Whoops.
I think the thing that I've learned with mistakes is there's often a way to put it right. Or in
Mhm.
that case, it was my personal calendar. And at that point, I didn't really use my personal calendar, so it's fine. I just had a whole bunch of invites that no longer had addresses on them as well. Like I learned, right? But now, flip side, I've got Einstein Activity Capture that blocks me out for the rest of the day if somebody books me.
Mhm.
And I deliberately tag those meetings now created by Einstein Activity Capture goes into the description, so I know that
Oh,
it's
that's awesome.
Einstein doing with it. Like, so
Hmm.
I've learned from that mistake, right?
I'm learning from this mistake as well.
That's definitely a feature that like doesn't really get a fair rap, I think. And I know the team in Salesforce have done a lot to help with some of the recent features.
What does the future look like for Tom Bassett?
I think I'll continue to be busy, but continue to strive to find the balance. Also, maybe more different things, new things. I discovered like when I kind of switched from answering loads of questions to running this podcast, and those things kind of swapped over priority in my life. The podcast, I can reach more people and different people. The questions, I was doing it quite solidly for a couple of years, reaching the same people. Not necessarily with the same questions, but similar questions, you know? So maybe not having as much an impact. So maybe there's some kind of format shake up for the podcast. Not sure yet. Maybe we do all live episodes, but note to self, don't do a live episode with Vanessa because it's going to go wrong. And in fact, I feel like the bloopers of this episode is maybe longer than the actual episode.
Possibly.
Um, so yeah, just mixing things up, like trying to stay fresh, trying to stay relevant, being honest as well. Like if I learn something and learn not to do something, like this week I released a unlocked package and somebody commented on LinkedIn and said, "What have you learned?" And I was like, straight away, you have to run Apex tests even when you don't have Apex in the package. Like I packaged some custom labels. There's no code in there. There's no flow. There's nothing. It's just labels. And you still had to run to get code coverage before I could release the package. So I think more of that, continuously learning, but also continuously improving
Hmm.
as well. And maybe being a little bit iterative to throw back to one of my recent episodes as well. So all of those things kind of wrapped into one.
Right. Sounds like you've also learned a lot from this wonderful podcast that and
Yeah,
YouTube show that you've inspired.
yeah, exactly. And I think that's a really great way to put it. Somebody else on this podcast gave me an idea for the survey. And I was
Oh,
like, I'm going to take that and I'm going to run with that because I have a developer rule. I can probably do that within the limits of the developer rule I've got. And it's winner for me because now I know what pain points people had with scheduling. The good thing is I've automated scheduling since then, so I'm not really worried about it. But the people did have concerns with scheduling. So yeah, it's just about improving and making things smoother.
Well, I look forward to continuing to interact with the continuously improving Tom Bassett
Yeah.
and listening to this continuously improving show. Congratulations on all of your various accomplishments, but particularly this show and being more Tom. We could all strive to be more Tom. Even if I could be like a quarter as Tom as Tom, I think that would be an achievement in Vanessa Grant's life. So thank you for the gift that you are in the community. Thanks for all you do. And how can people reach you if they would like to reach you?
Yes, I've actually had a little bit of a rebound recently.
Oh,
People can reach me on X, YouTube, and LinkedIn at CRMTom92. And you can find me on the Trailblazer community by the same. If you put my name followed by Salesforce into Google, you'll also find all of the Salesforce help stuff and the Salesforce Ben stuff as well. Around basically on whichever platform suits you the best.
yeah. Or come find us at Dreamforce when we do our 2
Mm.
sessions in the admin on the admin track. Thanks for having me back on. I think I already gave my whole like your gift to the community and gift to me. I don't know. Should I say any more nice things about you?
Well, you're a gift to me too.
Oh.
There you go.